As a real estate professional, I get approached all the time with people who are looking to either build a side business in real estate and investing or to find a niche to focus on for their career. One area that I've seen people who commit to it consistently can achieve success in both creating income and building wealth in the long run is investing in tax defaulted properties. And while there are a lot of kind of crazy people selling all kinds of stuff, one of the players who's consistently done it over the years, and I've had a chance to talk to in the past, is Ted Thomas. We're really lucky to have an expert in the field of tax default sale properties. Ted, thanks for joining us again.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
And again, you're joining us from Melbourne, Florida.
Right. I make my home here, but I lived in California for about almost 30 years. I lived in the Bay Area.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
So, tell me the tax advantage to me, where I sit, the advantage of the tax strategy is you can get in with a really low initial cost. If you don't have a lot of wealth, it's a place you can start without a lot of money, but you got to put some hustle on. Is that why it works so well for people looking to get started in the business?
I think the people that look at it, everyone is looking for a deal. It's consistent when it comes to finding bargains. So it wouldn't matter whether you're in Texas or you're in Washington State or Florida, wherever you might be. There's over 3,000 counties, and all 3,000 of the counties will have auction this year. And so here's why the whole thing works. It works because the counties are taking properties that people either abandon or they didn't pay the tax. Now, if you don't pay the tax, the law simply is you have forfeited your property. You forfeit your property. So I got in the business over 30 years ago because I could consistently find bargain properties. Now, does that mean I couldn't go down? Now, I don't live in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, you could, but I can't go to my local county, which might have 50 or 75 or even 100 properties, and always find the property I want in that particular county. So I branch out and go to other counties, or nowadays you can do it all online, so you can do the whole United States. But if you lived in a big county like Los Angeles or San Diego, well, then there's going to be a lot of property there. You could make a business for the year. So the reason the whole business works is it's consistent. There's always going to be a lot of tax defaulted property, about 2 million a year.
So to rephrase what you're saying, because I'll get people who are interested and they'll go to your seminar or they'll go to a presentation and they'll come back and say, man, I bought the list and there's 75 properties. I didn't find one. And I would say to them, if I gave you a diamond mine worth $1 billion, do you think you're going to walk on the dirt and kick diamonds? No, you're going to dig tons of dirt with all kinds of exotic equipment to sift through the dirt to find diamonds that are worth $1 billion, right? Exactly. And so with this business too, you either have to invest time or money. If you put a little bit of money in, then you got to put in some time. You got to put some sweat equity, the hustle muscle on that, right? So when you talk about people getting started, typically they're buying a list and they have to, I guess, research through a couple hundred properties to find a couple good candidates. Is that kind of how it works typically?
That's right. You're going to have to look at the now. Of course, it depends upon your investment criteria. So let's say you've been doing it for 4 or 5 years. Well, you probably have a nest egg that you're using as your investment capital. Mm-hmm. So you're going to be able to find a lot more properties that you like than the brand new person. So let me give you an example of that. So I buy in California, Washington, New York, doesn't matter to me. Okay, so when I'm buying like in New York, if you can visualize, and I hope the viewer, the listener can visualize a colonial house. That would be like a 2-story house, might have a big driveway, might be sitting on 2 to 5 acres or something like that, where there's quite a bit of land. Those properties are handed down generation to generation. So let's say the third generation has been given a house, they don't take care of it, they let it go into, it doesn't get taken care of, and they don't pay the tax. That'll come up for tax auction, but it won't come up for tax auction at $5,000. It'll come up for tax auction for all of the back taxes. So you might have to spend $50,000 or $75,000. I've bought some of those houses for $150,000. People say spend $150,000 for that house, but it has a value of $400 or $500. So you see, there's a big spread there. Right. Whereas everyone would like to go to Riverside, where the houses might be $400,000, and they're going to buy them for $50 or $60. That's what they would like to do. Right. So you're going to have to look for that, as you said, call it the diamond in the rough. There's plenty of them. You just have to look. I had a guy that came across the border from Mexico, and he won't let me tell anybody his name because he's still not legal. He's been here 5 years, but he bought it in Los Angeles County. But Los Angeles County includes all the way up to Lancaster.
Correct.
Now, when you go all the way up to Lancaster, you and I know there's a lot of not so hot houses up there, right? Well, nobody that was at the auction took the time to drive up there, look at he ended up getting 4 properties, 4 buildings, houses on one property because the tax collector, he only sells the property number. He doesn't even go look at the property and they sell. So looking is so important. I tell people, don't buy anything unless you had boots on the ground. If you haven't walked on the ground, don't buy that property.
So let's just take a quick break here and do some housekeeping and make sure we understand where we're at. This is the official podcast of the LA County Real Estate Investors Association. We host this call every Tuesday at 3 p.m. This is an association with LA County Real Estate Investors. They have a live event once a month coming up this Thursday on November 9th. It's in West Los Angeles in the Palms area near Culver City. And they'll get about 250 people and about 50 vendors like this. I'll be one of them, live casting the event there. And it's free. Love to have you come. There's a vendors expo with 50 vendors like me. There'll be 250 people, fellow students. And the speakers this week are Bill and Devin Twyford. And they're the rock and roll real estate investors. And they're just going to explain a cool way that they've built their business and participate. So that's who we're sponsored by. Today, our guest is Ted Thomas, and he is one of the foremost experts on tax default property sales. And his website is tedthomas.com. For more information, I'd love to have you visit there. And just FYI, I'm not an affiliate. I don't have a commission on this. I just like to point people in the direction to help them because I don't do this. I don't coach people. I run my business. I'm pretty busy with it. But I'll tell you this, I've come across students of yours, I've come across students of this genre who've bought property and need to sell it. And as a real estate agent, I want to promote that. I think it's a great way to get started. But the common thread, and you tell me if this is right, Ted, the common thread with the people who've actually bought property versus those who bought the course or went to class and didn't do anything, the ones who buy property and make a profit, is they got the hustle muscle on. They roll up their sleeves, they research some properties. Maybe they didn't buy anything the first time. They didn't buy anything maybe the second time, but they learned and paid attention. And then all of a sudden, they make $5,000, $10,000 in a couple of deals, and they get a taste of the blood, and they love it.
Well, you're right on track. I like what you said. You said they didn't buy the first auction, the second auction, or whatever. And that actually is important because there's always a learning process in real estate.
Right.
Whether you bought your first home to live in, that's an experience. But if you could go to a number of auctions and watch the whole thing take place, especially in a place like Los Angeles, I mean, if you think about that, I mean, that auction, they're doing them online now, but recently they were doing them out at the fairgrounds. And there would be over 2,000 people. I mean, I've gone to that auction at least 5 times myself. You would know someone that I know, Steve Love. I've known Steve Love for 40 years.
Wow. Are you bragging or are you complaining about that?
No, I'm going to tell him you said that. No, I'm bragging. Everybody likes Steve Love. Okay, he's
That's true.
Guy.
Great guy.
And actually, I speak at his conference once a year, and I just do it online. I say, okay, I'll do it online, and we just give it. And his clients do just what we're talking about now. Right. So you're really on track. So they're lucky to have you to help them out.
Well, I'm glad to do it. And by the way, we're live streaming this on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. If you're watching live, feel free to jump in with questions or shout out. If you want to say whether or not he's bragging or complaining about Steve Love, feel free to answer that question. Or if you have any questions at all on tax defaulted properties. So let's talk about the geography because I am based in LA. Most of the subscribers to this podcast are in LA, although many of us look to invest out of state. How would I invest in buying tax default properties in other states? You recommend boots on the ground. Would I maybe pick one other state to specialize in and maybe learn a couple counties there? Or how would I do that effectively?
Okay, well, this has all been simplified, especially by me because I'm an innovator. And now you can go online and we have directories of every county in the United States. There's over 3,000 of them. And we have all the information, the tax collector, all the information they have. And so then I have the directory so set up that you can actually research 100 million properties sitting in Los Angeles at your kitchen table. So
Well,
you can go to any of the states. So next month, December is not a big month in Southern California for tax auctions, but I tell you what state is a big, a lot of auctions are going to take place, and that'll be Washington. All right. Now, don't discard Washington because you live in California. Think about, wait a minute, this is a powerful economy there, especially from the Canadian border in Vancouver all the way down to Tacoma. There's Snohomish County there, and Pierce County, and those counties will have anywhere from 100 to 150 properties each that they will auction during that event. Now, those counties will auction. Now, they can't. It's tough to get around there, just like Los Angeles. You have a tough time with traffic when you want to go look at property. But so I'm not telling you anything you don't know. In Washington, when you have to look at properties, you got a lot of hills to go up and down, and you get a lot of weather. So you got to add time to do that. So the auction isn't something, go tomorrow morning, look at a couple of properties, and then be at the auction. You have to do just what you said. Go to a couple of auctions, look at it, look at properties before you go. If you don't put some time in it, you're probably going to make my classes that I teach. I say, I want you to earn $25,000, $50,000 or more on a deal. So we're not trying to do deals. We're going to make $5,000 or $7,000. We're going to do it as professionals. We're going to buy a property with this margin in it. Otherwise, we're not going to buy it. And if you don't know how to sell, you better get real estate agents involved before you buy. Let me say that again. Get the real estate agents involved before you buy so they can tell you what the value of that property. The biggest problem people have, and I must well tell you that before we get cut off, it's this. People don't have a clue about how to sell something. And if you don't have a clue.
Hey, I'm here to help with that.
Yeah, well.
I'll help you sell the property. Part easy.
This is the biggest problem, the tax defaulted property. People find the properties and then they hold them and they hold them. Well, you don't be holding a property in the marketplace today, not because it's bad to hold property. It's because now you could have vandals get in the property. You could have people break into it. And then what are you going to do? You're going to have eviction problems and all that. So you need to know what you're going to sell the property. In my mind, I teach them, if you don't know what you're going to sell it for, don't buy the property.
So to use your numbers, if you're going to, this is the part that blows my mind. I run my business as a real estate salesperson. I'm very successful, the top 1% of my company in terms of production, in terms of commissions. I look at my business like I'm an attorney. I have to bill, and the number that I use is $250 per hour. And if I work 2,000 hours a year, that's $500,000 gross revenue to my company, right? Yeah. So I think about $250 per hour. When you said you can make $25,000 on a property, right? For $25,000 at $100 an hour, you're talking about 250 hours of work, right? Or $250 an hour, you're talking about $100 worth of work. That's 2.5 weeks to buy one property. And that's where this thing breaks down, is there are people who want to do it part-time and spend 5 hours to make $25,000. And you can win the lottery sometimes, but that's not a business. A business is you have to have consistently input investments and you get consistent output of results. And so with those numbers work out. Now, the deals that I find most commonly of customers that come to me are in the remote areas of LA County, even outside LA, Inyo and Kern County, Lake Elsinore, where they'll buy a property that maybe they got for $3,000 at a tax default, and it's worth $15,000 or $18,000.
Oh, we don't teach that. We don't teach that. We call those junkers, and I tell people don't to buy them because you're going to have trouble selling them because it takes a special person that wants to buy that property. Now, maybe now with a lot of minorities coming in, you could sell that property relatively quickly because they're desperate for a place to stay. But I teach people to stay away from those properties because of the sales part of it. So I want them to buy something decent in the first place. I don't want to buy any junk. If we can, we just want to clean it and then resell it. First place we want to resell it is someone that belongs to a club. I call those people fixer-upper people. They have skills with their hands and their back. They know what to do. They know what it costs to rehab a kitchen. They know what it takes to fix a roof. They know that. Okay. My people don't know that. They don't know that at all. My people know, find the property and market it. That's the thing that we teach. We spend as much time on marketing as anything else. And we tell them not to buy if they're not prepared to market on everything from Facebook to putting it on Facebook Marketplace, use the MLS, use every possible way you can to have it in 6 or 8 to 10 places that you're marketing it. and buy it low and sell it low. That's my whole mantra. Buy it low at the auction and sell it below the market so you can get rid of it. We're not teaching people to fix property up.
And you're not teaching people to buy land either.
Oh no, I love land. Well,
that's what I was talking about. The ones I'm talking about, Kern, Inyo, and Augusta land, where it's a $3,000 buy for like a $15,000 lot.
I want to clarify that because I'm not good at land, but I'm very good at teaching people to buy residential lots.
Yes.
In other words, you know what the value on each side of it is. Now you can determine value. It's very hard to determine value if you're not a real estate person.
Correct.
But if you know what each lot the next door. So I buy those. As a matter of fact, the last few properties I bought in Seattle, I bought land. And when I say land, I'm always going to be very specific and say residential lot. I don't know how to buy vacant land. You know, when you drive by it all looks the same. But what about the drainage? What about the power? What about what kind of earth is it? You know, is it grazing land or is it land for row crops? So I don't know that information. Years ago when I lived in California, I was licensed as a broker, but I haven't done any brokerage for 30 years.
Got it.
Yeah.
Naveen Zaid asked the question, how can a person get into a property at auction without having the cash? So you're going to have people who are willing to invest time and find deals, but they have the money to execute the deals. How can they get started in this process?
They can't. They're going to have to learn where the money is and how to get it first. You want to get your money lined up ahead of time. It's too late when the auction's already taken place. You don't want to do that. And you want to make sure that you not only have enough money to buy it, but what are you going to do about holding it? And what are you going to do about advertising it? See, people forget, they see real estate and they hear someone say, well, I bought it for $100,000. I sold it for $150,000. But the people don't want to talk about, well, wait a minute. I spent $6,000 with newspaper ads. I had a broker help me out. I did this. I did that. You know, they don't want to talk about that. That's the important part of the business for me is you got to learn how to do marketing and you have to have money ahead of time. So find a partner, give the partner 50%. Don't offer them 7 or 8% of bank rates or something like that. Give them half the money, but you better get trained before you do it. Don't buy a property unless you know what you're doing. Because if you lose that investor's money, then the investor is going to die, but you will because no one will touch you again for people money.
Okay.
You got to make the investor money and you better make them too much. But if you make them too much, they'll come back. But investors will drive you crazy once you make them money. They'll be back next week for another deal.
That's so true. As a real estate broker, when I find a deal and get an investor and they make money on it, like they just feel like it grows on trees. It's like, I wish I had one every day, but I don't often have that kind of deal. So Naveen, I guess the best guess is find somebody to partner with perhaps. If you find a good deal, what I always tell people, if you have a deal, there's money for a deal, right? You can always turn over to somebody else and split the commission, split the profits, find some way to turn over to somebody else. But you got to get into action and find the deals. There's no other way around that. So what does a process, is this a process for part-time people? Is it a process for full-time people? Or does it depend on who you are and you have that flexibility?
Well, if you have flexibility, it's better, but this is a business that's going to require every week, same thing, between 5 and 10 hours a week until you make the deal. And then it's going to increase for a little bit while you're getting all the people lined up that are going to help you. Now, you're definitely going to have to get a broker you don't have to, but in my school, I said, get a broker to help you out so that you know what the value of that property is. Don't you decide what the value it is and then make a big mistake. Say to the broker, what can you get rid of it for now? 60 days maximum. And they'll give you a low number. Okay, well, you want to make sure you bought it lower than that. So that makes you feel good. You make that. Then you're going to have to do everything about that property that's going to take. But the biggest thing you have to do is learn how to market it. You're going to have to think about the MLS system. You're going to have to think about Facebook Marketplace. You're going to have to think about Trulia and Zillow. I mean, you've got about 8 or 10 things to do immediately when you get one of those properties. Right. The investor is going to be impressed with you working every day, not just a lot of flash in the pan. But once you know how to do it, and once you know where the auctions are, there's always an abundance. There's always too many properties. There's always and there's always leftover properties. For example, Los Angeles will have, the last sale they just did was 1,000 properties, and they still had 150 left over. But the treasurer in Los Angeles has become very smart in the last 2 years. The treasurer has power. I mean, when I say power, they have more power than anybody that you're ever going to meet, because the treasurer has the power of sale, and the treasurer can say, auction that property for $100 right now. And that's when you want to be able to spring up and say, bid you $100. And that will happen because they'll have a subsequent auction. They have an auction today. Everybody shows up. They haven't sold them all. They have a subsequent auction. At the subsequent auction, they sell for half the tax dollars in Los Angeles.
Wow.
50%. Nobody's going to tell you that. I'll tell you because I got my clients who are sitting there.
Wow.
We go to the auction. We write down everything that's getting sold, what it went for. Okay, then the auction is finished. The treasurer will probably say, we have another auction tomorrow, and there won't be 1,000 people there. There'll be 75, but they'll still have 100 or 200 properties, and they don't use the same number. So if they were trying to, if the minimum bid yesterday at the auction was 100,000, it'll be 50,000.
Wow.
They cut
That's
the
what's
taxes
nice.
in half. So understand that the treasurer has what you and I would call superpower. Just whoop,
Wow.
cut that price in half. Now, does that make a deal a deal? You're darn right it does. You cut the taxes in half.
When you buy a property at tax sale, do you have to research and worry about the liens and all the other, they might be bankrupt, they might have been sued and those kinds of things?
You need to learn to research, and you can do this all online. We have classes. Every Friday we have classes on how to teach people to research online. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. We teach people in France. We teach them in Mexico City. They're on those classes. You can research all properties in the United States online. All right. So you need to this. You're going to hear that in California, the deed of trust falls off the property, or the mortgage in Florida, it falls off the property. They're not going to have that on the property. However, a municipal lien does not fall off the property. A federal lien does not fall off the property. So you have to understand the lien process before you buy. Because if you buy it, you're going to get the lien. Now you own the lien, you're going to have to pay it. Someone's going to pay that lien. It's not going to go away. But if you know ahead of time what you're getting, you might want to say, oh, I'll buy it anyway with the lien on it. Then after you get it, you can at least try to negotiate with the lien holder. But
Right.
That's a skill. You're not going to go to some seminar for an hour and a half and do that. That's a skill. You need that. You're probably going to need your broker to help you out, someone that knows how to talk to that person about that. And of course, skilled attorneys. There's nothing wrong with hiring attorneys. It's
Right.
just going to cost you $250 to $500 an hour. But it's okay to use these people. That's what they're there for. They're happy to help you.
Well, I know there are people who are in the business of buying these liens and then, for pennies on the dollar, and then they convert it. So you never know who has the lien. If it's federal or local, yeah, there's ways that you have to work those. But my experience, they usually don't settle. They want it the full amount, or they're going to foreclose on the property afterwards. So you're right. You have to really research these properties and learn what you're doing. Naveen asks, where can I access information about upcoming auctions? Now, I imagine you have a program, and I think we want to talk about that because this covers auctions all across the country. How does somebody learn? Is that part of your classes to learn where the auctions are and how that works?
If whoever asks the question, if they'll just tell me the state, I'll tell them exactly what to do.
Okay.
Right now.
Naveen, what state are you in? We'll see if she hears us and can show.
Naveen, tell us what state you're in. What state you want to research?
Well, let's just.
Okay, I'll just give you an overall.
California, she says.
Okay, California, good. All right. So that whatever county you're in California that you want to research, you want to go to the official county records. Okay, some people call that the public records. Okay, all auctions are conducted. It's mandated by the legislature. Conducted by the treasurer. Sometimes they'll say treasurer, tax collector. But in California, its population is so big, the treasurer will have 100, 150 employees. All right, so the treasurer is going to conduct the auction. So they'll give you all the details. And the treasurer will have a website. You can just go on the website, and there it is. And it'll tell you when the next auction is. Now, they just had one. I had 7 people at the online. They had an online auction last week. So you're going to have to wait probably another 60, 90 days before they have another one.
So here it is. I just do what you said. Los Angeles County a treasurer and tax collector, auctions, upcoming auctions, and here's all the information for the upcoming auctions.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And that's what they get when they come to our classes, and the classes are online. When they do that, we go right to this and show the people how to do it.
And I think the key is to pick the county that you want to learn and learn all the intricacies of that county, right? My experience with probate is There's laws that vary by state, but there's certain principles that are similar. And then there's procedures that vary by county. You want to learn the ins and outs of that county so you can specialize and learn that.
Right. Right. Yeah. The more you can learn about one county, once you have the information, you know how to do it, you can pass it on to other counties. Now, there's certain states that are altogether different. If you decide you want to go to Texas, that's a different ballgame. If you go to Georgia, that's a different ballgame. If you go up to Rhode Island and Connecticut, those are redeemable deed states, and the redeemable deeds are a lot different. So, but don't be confused. California has a very simple system, and the treasurer is really powerful, and the auctions are huge. If you go to San Bernardino County, I've been doing this for 30 years. I started it when I lived in the Bay Area. I started it when I lived in Contra Costa County, right across from San Francisco. All right. I never got a property in San Francisco because the brokers always would beat us out. San Mateo, same way. And now even Santa Clara, which is San Jose, that's the same way. So you're probably not going to get anything there. But you get in the Central Valley, you can go into Stanislaus County, which is Modesto. You can go to Kern County. But as I said, I've gone for 30 years. I've tracked the auction in San Bernardino, just to give you an example. I've never seen less than 3,000 properties.
Wow.
Never seen less. San Diego's another one. San Diego's taken a huge bump up. It used to be 200 properties. Recently, I've seen 400 and 600 properties.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. Big change in San Diego. Los Angeles now splits the auction because it got so big, they would have 2,000 properties. Now, I'm at home right now, so I don't have my materials with me. But if I had my materials, the book is this thick for Los Angeles. It's 2.5 inches thick. You go page after page after page. I mean, you can't get through the book in a day. And if you're researching, it'll take you. So what you do is you just separate Los Angeles into zip codes. Just decide a zip code that you're going to work. You can't work at all. You can't work from Lancaster to Long Beach. You can't do it. It's absolutely impossible. It's impossible to drive it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And also you'll know the area better. It's faster for your research and go a little deeper. So somebody who wanted to learn more about this, you guys offer a 1-day virtual event, and it's really modestly priced. On the website, tedthomas.com, you click on the join the 1-day virtual event. And this event you normally sell for $97, but you've been nice enough to give us a promo code that if you order now, it comes down to $47. I guess about $50 off.
All right. Now let me explain that, because it's not just an hour pitch. Okay. This is a real class where I bring my coaches together with me, and the coaches teach the different types of buying at tax defaulted auctions. All right. This class starts at 11 o'clock in the Eastern zone. So that's 8 o'clock if you're in California. Okay. It starts at 11. It will go for 6 hours. I know the site I'm looking at now. It says 7 hours. It'll be done in 6 hours. It won't stop. So you'll have your lunch with us. You're going to drink a beer with us. It's a virtual class, and it's very not only entertaining, but you'll need a notebook. You'll need a notebook. There's that much information. It's powerful. You'll get way more than your $47 worth. And if you didn't get $47 worth, we'll give you the money back.
Yeah, right on there is 100% money back guarantee.
Yeah.
And I put the promo code there on the screen, scrolling across.
Right.
And feel free to take advantage of that. So if you just go, again, just to get there, all you have to do is go to tedthomas.com, and it will take you, I lost my spot there.
Yeah.
Take you on the top there is the click here for the virtual. And again, $47. But here's the thing I want to tell people. It's not the $47. As somebody who does a class, it's funny. I have a class I do on email marketing, and I charge $97 for it. And I give you, if you're with EXP, which is the company I'm with, I give them half off. And I say to them, I really don't want to charge you. I want to weed out people who aren't serious, but I also want you to feel that you're getting value when you show up, because the real money is your time. If you think about 7 hours at $47, that's $6.75 an hour. Minimum wage in LA is $15. You can't take a class for 7 hours and without investing your time. If you're an Uber driver, you get $20 an hour. That's $140 right there. So make sure your time is factored into this. If this is a business you want to get into, you've got to learn it. You got to put the work in. You have to put the preparation in. So I as somebody who does some classes that we do charge for, It's a small amount. I know you're looking for some committed students who are going to participate in your community. That way you all grow. It's not the money out the $47. It's the accumulation of serious people who are going to work with you that makes you successful.
Yeah, the $47 barely pays all the people all the time. You wouldn't even come near it. What you're just trying to do is make sure you have qualified people come to it. That class will draw 200 people, and by the time the class finishes, there'll still be 80% of them on it at the end of it. They stay with it all the time. So it's fantastic that people like it.
One thing I've learned is anybody to transform themselves, if you want to change from something you're not into something you are, you would change from somebody who's not making money to somebody is, or somebody without wealth to somebody is, you need three things. You need to have a leader or mentor coach, and Ted fits that bill in this niche. He's a master on the tax default property strategy. Second, you need a process or system or methodology. That's what he's showing you on this program. The third is you need a community of people who are doing what you're doing, because you need encouragement, you need support, you need other people that you're encouraging to give you the commitment to do the job. And this offers all three. So again, I'm not getting paid a nickel, and I probably won't see students successful here, because you typically will buy out of geography that I don't really service as a real estate broker. But I've seen customers follow this program and make money and build some wealth, and I want to encourage you guys to do that. So Ted, last question I guess I have for you is, what is the difference? Because I know you must, through your career, have had thousands of students. I don't know what the number is. The number probably, you don't want to know the number. It probably makes you cry if you think about how many you started with. And then the percentage of those who've taken the class, taken some action, done some work, and the smaller percentage who actually work at it seriously and break through and make some real money. What's the difference between those who kick the tires and don't do anything and those who actually do and put the effort in and follow through?
Well, it's an answer that everybody doesn't want to hear, but you'll know how truthful it is when I answer it. The people that make the money are the people that start small and humble, and they keep going. By that, I mean, they go to like the $47 class, then they take training. We have training every single day. We give them a coach to stay with them. And then the people that take some kind of advanced coaching, so they have someone with the arm around them while they're making that deal. They got someone to talk to. Because if they don't have, people resist spending money on education. That's the cheapest money you'll ever spend, because
by far,
you make a mistake with a real estate property, you could use up a year's pay making a mistake. But if you use all the talent, real estate is a business of abundance, number one. But number two, there's an abundance amount of people that will help you, but you don't know who the hell they are. That's the problem. And your relatives, they really want to help you. Some are young, some are old. They all want to tell you, be careful and all that. They really want to help you. But if they don't know anything about tax liens and deeds, I don't think you want to listen to them.
Well, I would put, you said in a negative sense, I'd put in a positive sense, which is this. If you're struggling financially, if you don't have the wealth you want, the most important asset in your life is you. And if you make yourself more valuable, how do you do that? By teaching yourself skills, by giving yourself information, and by connecting with people that can leverage your time with their time to be more successful. So whether it's this path or another, I had the same question. I coach real estate agents on probate, and I had a large group this morning, and somebody said, you took this class, Bill, this is referring to a probate class that I did take. Was it helpful for your business? And I had to stop and think for a second. And I said, every day I work at being better at what I do. There's nothing more important than me knowing more, being better, learning more people, networking more people. In that case, it was a $600 program. And I said, it was 14 hours of my time. I bill at $250 an hour. So that cost me $3,000 or so of my time, let alone the $600 for the program time. And so, yeah, it was worth it. I did a bunch of business last year. I can't tell you which it is, but I'm better because I learned along the way. And so I want to just challenge anybody out there, particularly looking to get started. You've got to learn about this business. You've got to learn to work with other people. You got to find mentors who can help you. And again, from where I sit, I've been on a while. Ted's one of those people that's worth $47 and at least a couple hours time, and investigate if that is a program that's going to work for you. So I recommend it. Again, I'm not making any money on this at all. I just want to help people find the right path, and I think this is one of them. Ted, thank you so much. Again, Ted Thomas, TedWorks.com is the website. Ted, thank you so much. Thank you to Linda for setting it up. If you know Ted at all, you're going to learn Linda, or else you're not going to meet Ted. So Linda, thank you for setting it up. Ted, thank you for coming in today from Melbourne, Florida. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And there's Linda. Linda, thank you so much for making this happen for us.
No problem.
And for the rest of you, again, this is the LA County Real Estate Investors Association podcast. We do this live every Tuesday at 3 p.m. But we also, I want to highlight this week, Thursday, November 9th, in Los Angeles County. That's a real shot of what the class is going to look like. We'll have about 250 students in the class. That's the vendor expo beforehand. And we'll have about 50 vendors. I'm on the other side of the aisle. You can't see me, but I'm there every week, every month as well. So it's a great program. It's in West LA. It's free. It's a free program. Starts at 6:30 is the vendor expo, and then the speakers go on around 7 or 7:30. And it's always a great event to teach you about a different expert in real estate investing, as well as meet a bunch of vendors to help you on your path. So I'm here to help you along the way. If I can help, reach out, please. Bill Gross at Bill Gross Probate and social media. Call, text, or email me. And either way, make today your best day ever. Thank you so much, everybody.